Hey, it's Jen here, and I'm here with some exciting news. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Senator Bernie Sanders have put forward a proposal that would put a 15% interest rate cap on loans and credit cards and would establish simple banking services through post offices, as well as essentially end predatory payday loans. Let's go ahead and see what AOC has to say about this herself. She says there is no reason a person should pay more than 15% interest in the United States. It's common sense. In fact, we had these usury laws until the 70s. Max interest rates are record high for people with excellent credit too. It's a debt trap for working people, and it has to end. Finally, we have someone other than Senator Bernie Sanders working hard to establish this legislation. He's been pushing this forward for a number of years, which a lot of people don't realize, and now he has powerhouse Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on his side, and as you know, anything she talks about tends to get great coverage and has a pretty high chance of getting pushed through, or at least getting established representatives and senators to lend their support as well. So while it might be tough to get through in the Senate, it has a much better chance than it ever has before, and this puts more coins in people's pockets, as AOC said. Let's see what Bloomberg had to say about this. Sanders Ocasio-Cortez proposed 15% cap on credit card interest, and this is by Laura Litvin. The plan would let post offices offer basic banking services, and the pair call big banks modern-day loan sharks in statement. Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez accused banks of acting as modern-day loan sharks and called on Congress to enact a federal limit of 15% on credit card interest rates. The two self-identified Democratic socialists are set to propose legislation on Thursday capping rates on credit card and other consumer loans and letting post offices offer low-cost basic financial services, such as loans and checking and savings accounts. An outline of the plan released ahead of their formal announcement sharply criticized banks for charging an average more than 17% interest on credit card balances, while they are able to borrow money at less than 2.5%. Today's loan sharks wear expensive suits and work on Wall Street, where they make hundreds of millions of dollars in total compensation by charging sky-high fees and usurious interest rates, the statement said. With Republicans in control of the Senate, the proposal has little chance of becoming law anytime soon. Americans have more than $1 trillion in credit card debt. According to figures from creditcards.com, cited by Sanders and Ocasio-Cortez, the national average interest rate on credit cards is 17.73%, and many people pay much higher interest. The interest rate limit they propose also would apply to payday loans. They said it would match the interest rate cap for credit unions. The proposal also would let more than 30,000 post offices provide banking services for low-income Americans who currently don't have ready access to banks. Sanders, a Vermont senator, is running for president as a progressive, in contrast to former Vice President Joe Biden, the current frontrunner in the race, who is offering a more centrist alternative to a largely left-leaning field of 21 Democratic contenders. Sanders' new proposal highlights the way he will make taking on Wall Street and corporations a recurring theme in the 2020 contest. By teaming up with Ocasio-Cortez, a first-term representative from New York, Sanders is drawing on a high-profile fellow progressive with strong appeal to younger voters. Sanders has been rolling out a series of proposals in recent weeks, including a Medicare for All proposal whose co-sponsors include 4 of his presidential primary rivals: Warren, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, and Kirsten Gillibrand. He also has proposed a broad overhaul of policies affecting small-town family farmers and the agricultural industry, which would include a moratorium on new agribusiness mergers. And that adds another interesting question to whether this proposal will move forward more than you might have estimated a year ago, or 2 years ago, or 4 years ago, or 8 years ago, for as long as Bernie has been trying to pass this forward. Now that he is again in the presidential race and it seems he's moved the Overton window on what's acceptable for the Democrats in presidential races and what kinds of things they should be supporting. It'll be interesting to see whether these other presidential hopefuls latch on to what AOC and Bernie Sanders have proposed today. And let's hear it straight from their mouths what they're talking about. I'll just play a little bit of this so you get the idea, and you can find it on @SenSanders on Twitter.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
And I am delighted to be here with Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is introducing the companion legislation in the House. And here is the bottom line. What we're dealing with is an issue today that gets nowhere near the kind of discussion that it needs. Some of you may have noticed that there was a Federal Reserve report that came out just a few days ago. And what it said is that bottom half of the American people, 50% of the American people, have almost zero in wealth. That means they got nothing in the bank. If you got nothing in the bank and you're living paycheck to paycheck, guess what happens if your kid gets sick? Guess what happens if your car breaks down? Guess what happens if you have any kind of an emergency? You got to go to the bank. You got to get money. You got to borrow money. And the way people borrow money today is through their credit cards. Mm-hmm. And now we have a situation, and this to me is not just an economic issue, it is a moral issue, where you have Wall Street and credit card companies charging people outrageously high interest rates when they are desperate and they need money to survive. You know, Alexandra, I suspect you know this, but every major religion on earth, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, has condemned usury.
That's right.
Because it is really disgusting. I mean, I don't know a better word. Is if somebody is desperate, and you say, you're desperate, you need money to take care of your children, to feed your family, well, I'm going to lend you money, but it's going to be at an outrageously high interest rate. That's what Wall Street has done. So right now, you're looking at a median credit card interest rate now of over 21%. That means half of the American people are actually paying more than that. Mm-hmm. So if you're earning $10 an hour now, you don't have enough money to take care of your family, you're going to be paying 22, 25% interest rates. And then on top of that, what is not widely discussed, you go to Macy's, you go to Kohl's, you go to any large department store, and they say, hey, get our credit card. But you get their credit card. What you don't know is you're going to be paying something like 27% interest rates on that credit card.
That's right.
27%. Now, how much do the banks borrow money? They borrow money from the Fed at 2.5%, and then they charge people 18, 20, 25% interest rates. And here's what is even uglier. The poorer you are, mm-hmm. the more desperate you are, the higher the interest rates are. Now, what Alexandria and I are proposing in our legislation is something that is not complicated. It just takes us back to where we were a number of years ago, and that is that no bank in this country should have credit card interest rates of over 15%. So we're bringing back the concept of usury laws, where people cannot where banks cannot try to get blood out of a stone. Previously, you had states like Alabama that charged maximum 8%, Vermont 12%. Many states had maximum amounts of interest rates that credit card companies can charge. But as a result of the Marquette decision back in 1980, I think, essentially that was nullified. And we're going to bring that back. Last point that I want to make, and I'll give it over to Alexandria, is that an additional crisis crisis, but part of this whole situation is that many poor people don't have access to banking services.
That's right.
Because the big banks are not worried about somebody who, makes $10 an hour. They can't make enough money off of that. So we have got to move toward universal banking through the postal system. You got post offices in almost every community in America. They should be available to provide basic banking services so that people do not have to go into payday lenders, which is a whole other story. So you think of Wall Street as disgusting. Think about payday lenders charging people 100, 150% interest rates. So this is an important issue. We just put something up on our social media the other day. We got 1,500 people who called in to talk about what these high interest rates are doing to their lives. Millions of people are experiencing this. So this is an issue we need your help on. We need it in the House. We need it in the Senate.
And I'll stop the stream there. It was a little bit choppy. Sorry about that. Oh, hold on one second. It didn't stop. There we go. Sorry about that. It was a little bit choppy on their end. Not sure what's going on, but you can see the full presser there. Well, it wasn't really a presser. It was just them in what looked like an office talking about this new proposal. So go ahead and go to @SenSanders on Twitter, and you can watch the full thing. They ran it through Periscope. And give us your thoughts. What do you think about this? Leave some comments here on this video. I think it sounds wonderful. I do think that these credit card companies and big Wall Street bankers are extremely predatory. All they care about is the money in their own pocket. Also, I want to remind you that we're doing a May membership drive. So if you're not yet a member of Status Quo, you get some awesome perks if you become a member. Behind the scenes videos, behind the scenes reporting, extra reporting that others don't get access to. Behind the scenes photos, video diaries, all kinds of things. So go to statusquo.com/join. We need a few more members to hit our initial May goal of 400 members. So help us out, help yourself out, because you're going to get some great stuff. That's statusquo.com/join. Bye-bye.